Hey JC, it's your grandpa Javi. It's the last day of August 2019. You're still inside your mama. You're probably gonna make your appearance in the next week or so. So I figured I'd give you a little history of where she grew up as a kid and where your grandma Pam and I have spent the last, about 25 years. And we're losing our property here shortly to a mud district for a development called Generation Park. And as you'll be an older guy when you see this, you'll probably know all about Generation Park. It'll probably be fully developed by then. But anyway, enough of that. I'm going to talk to you like you were a 21-year-old or somebody. Your grandpa does a little cussing, so if I say cuss words, then that's just the way it is. Right over here is our land, and that little clearing, you can't really see it too well right through there, is where we hit golf balls to this telephone pole right here. And that land right there was our neighbors Ron and Don. The mud district already bought them out, and then our property's kind of over there. So we're just going to start scooting around here, and I'll just start telling you some stories. Okay, so we moved here in '95. Let me show you a little grate over here. Down on the ground, there's a creek that separates our property from Ron and Don's property, and that's what the mud district wants for their drainage facility. This grate right here drains this whole area across the street here from our property. It's like a big bowl, and so when all this gathers water, that runs into this grate, and that drops into a pipe that pokes out over on our property. And I'll show you that pipe when we walk down into, we call it the ravine. It's like a real nice creek with ferns and some nice trees and stuff like that. So it's a hot summer day. Your mom and dad, Mr. Mitchell, they were over here yesterday, and we were out looking at houses that we may move to, or at least think about it. But done a lot of crazy shit out here, man. We used to pop fireworks off out here every 4th of July out in the middle of the road. We've had a lot of interesting tales from firework disasters, but I could go on and on with stories that'll take too long to tell. I'll tell you about them in person, hopefully. Anyway, so this is kind of our land right here. This is Aqueduct Road, and that's where we just were. Where that car is going by is Duzen Park. One day when you are older and you come over here, none of this is going to be the same. It's all going to be a drainage ditch, I suspect. So let's motor up the road here. It's a Sunday. Tomorrow's Labor Day. We're actually going over to our friends Ron and Don's house this afternoon to have a ESPN NFL fantasy football draft that we have every year. So this is our entryway to the house. It's about a 600 foot asphalt road that goes all the way back towards the house. And before I head that direction, we're gonna go. I'll show you where we hit our golf balls from. We also played frisbee golf out here. Had a little 9-hole course set up, and that was pretty cool, man. We used PVC pipes and just put a number on them. You had to hit the pipe above a certain line to imitate the basket on the real frisbee golf devices. But all in all, we had a pretty cool little course. I think this is the 8th hole over here, 8th or 9th hole, I forget. You can't really see it, it's leaning up against the tree. I had to pull it out. I was doing some mowing back here the other day, and it was kind of in the middle of what would be the fairway. Let me get off this golf cart. Yeah, by the way, yeah, I've been riding on my golf cart here. No whining, okay? Don't fucking whine. That's my rule. So yeah, it's kind of a cool little cart. Gets us around. So right here is a little tee box. Just some AstroTurf with a couple of them rubber tees sticking up there. And that's the little clearing I was telling you about there. And that's the pole we were just over by. So that's about 120, 115. Good little 9-iron shot. me and my neighbor John, Mr. John Price. You'll probably meet John as you're a young man. Johnny boy and I would sit out here drinking beers, pounding them down and hitting balls. And of course, as the first couple beers, your shots may get a little better, but Jesus, after a few beers, them shots start flying everywhere. We used to buy big bushels of golf balls and 500 in a bag for $100, something like that. So we had plenty of ammo. Let me make a U-turn down here. So I'm pretty sure this film's going to come out a little shaky, maybe a little bit to deal with. My grandpa used to film my brother and I when we were growing up in San Antonio, Texas, back in the 60s, and I think I get a lot of my wanting to make films from him. Matter of fact, this little hula girl, hold that thing and stop it. He had an old car, and he liked the hula girls, so that's what he used. And here, I'm gonna turn this camera around. I'm not sure you'll be able to see me very good, but yeah, this is when I looked a little younger. When you know me and you see this later in life, I'll be probably a little more gray hair, and I don't know, we'll see. So let's see. Yeah, he did a lot of filming and captured history, and for that I'm truly grateful. Loving to pieces, and I just wanted to kind of do a similar thing for you, so you'd at least you hear my voice, you see our property. It's something you can see. You know, people can tell stories about other people, but shit, that doesn't convey the story good enough unless somebody's actually telling you something. And if I told you I was slightly nervous doing this video, it is kind of different. So if it was just you and me riding around the golf cart right now, I'd probably be talking a little different. So it is what it is. There's our trash can. Put that out every two times a week. We used to share it with John Leona next door, and when the price of the damn garbage out here was pretty expensive, we found a better deal, and so they got their own can now. So over here on the left is this used to be a gravel road. Actually, this used to be solid woods, you know, just like the woods. And when your Grandma Pam and I moved out here, we did a lot of clearing by hand, but a bulldozer guy named Granville Raspberry, he cleared this road off, and we had crushed concrete for the road surface for a few years until an asphalt dude came up one day and said the thing them fucking asphalt guys always say. It's like, hey, you know, I got a job in the neighborhood, I get you a big deal, you know, if you pay me cash now, I'll cut you a deal. So he actually had a pretty good deal, and we paid him $6,000 cash, and he paved this whole road from the front all the way back to the house, which you'll see here in a little bit. This is the pond. It's pretty low right now. It sometimes gets all the way up here near the edge of the road. And it just depends. We've had hurricanes and tropical storms, and you get periods of serious rain, and it's like, holy smokes, it can get filled up. But it's the middle of the summer, haven't had rain in a while, and it will evaporate kind of quick. Right in the middle, you could have an upside down VW bug in there right now, and you'd maybe see the tops of the tires. I don't know. It's got a kind of a hole down there in the middle. Okay, so over here to the right is John and Leona's place. Leona purchased the property there, I don't know, I'm gonna say 1997 or 8. It was a couple years after we had purchased. We bought it again in 95, so we built a house in 96, and she built shortly thereafter. There was another guy that had the property, and he didn't like it because he thought it was swampy. So when he moved off of it, we told Leona about it, and she went ahead and bought it immediately. We got this place for $27,000 for 10 acres, and that's, I'm sure you know now, that's kind of a crazy deal. So let's see, what do I got here? This is our septic sprinklers are out here on this piece of property. This garage, well, a little bit more history. That house, that's our house. It's the second house that was here. The first one got burned to the ground in 2003 by illegal from El Salvador. Fidel Ortiz, he got 50 years. I think he's still in the loony bin because he was kind of a wacko. This garage was built in 2007, 4 years later, and we also extended our back patio roof, which I'll show you. Inside of here, I guess this is more of a little man cave. Let's see. Oh yeah. My cousin Bobby gave me these Budweiser horses. I always thought those were kind of cool. And so whenever I picked up any Budweiser stuff, I kind of put it here. That's not really a neon sign, it's just got fluorescent tubes in the back. I made that board out of a motorcycle. This is your Grandma Pam's favorite whiskey, which has your name, brother, so you know you gotta like that. It's just some old trinkets, a little hair dryer and stuff. That is one bad motherfucker there, Big Otis. That dude jammed. He played at our house at a party we called Twigstock. He was played at the Twigstock too, but it was really the first Twigstock after the house fire. And I got a lot to tell you about Twigstock parties. Your dad and your Grandma Pam's brother Robert, they tried to race each other and drink a bottle of Crown, and I don't know who won, but the next day they both lost. I think your mom had to take your dad to the hospital, and Robert looked worse than I'd ever seen him look. So they were happy at night about 3 in the morning, but the next day put a hurting on them. Let's see, that's my little bike. It's a Yamaha Raider. It's got a lot of torque. You crank back on that handle and hold on, man. That's my 95 Mark 8. I've had that the whole time we've been out here, and I'll probably be having to sell it. I'm gonna have to sell a lot of stuff. This is your Grandma Pam's Mazda Miata, but she would be the first to tell you I drive it more than she does. There's a story behind that. I'll let her tell you that one day. Let's see here. Got a jam box. Let me tell you about freedom. Freedom is having your own property and with enough room to kind of do whatever shit you want to do. And we do whatever we want to do. And that's something that's going to be a little disheartening when we leave. Hopefully things work out okay. I got some music here. I would say, expect by now you've already heard some of my music, but I'm gonna play one of my songs here. Little Charlie Dog. That's a song about a dog. Well, we'll see. We'll just get a little louder.
Has anybody out there seen my dog? I've been calling out his name all night long, and I know for a fact he's got his collar on. But in my heart, I know something's wrong, 'cause he's been gone for a day, and that's a day too long. Last time I saw him, that boy was playing.
When you can play your stereo on your own property loud enough to hear it from as far away as you want, damn near, then you got freedom, brother. And I only wish the best for you and wish you enjoy what we enjoyed. It's going to be tough to lose this, but this is our circle drive. Used to be that the main road came in and went in front of the house. That was paved, but the circle drive was still crushed concrete. It went around when we had the first house built. All here in the middle was stumps. When Granville had made the road, he took all kinds of trees down to do it, and we put all the stumps right there, and they were there for a couple years. And we built this road around them so we could access them and cut them up. But that's a new steel garage I had built. The same mud district that's taken our property already took it once before, a bit of it. They took an easement from us, 3.5 acres. So they took the 3.5, they paid us a couple $100 grand for that. And we repaved the road, bought the barn, or the steel garage, and new pool, decking, landscape, rocks. We put a lot of money back into the house, only to turn around 4 years later and have them fucking dudes take it. So we're dealing with the attorney really right now. This coming week, we're going to meet with him and see what kind of settlement he can negotiate with the district for us. So it'll come out favorable, but you're never going to have what you had. You're just not going to have this again. So let's see. I'm going to take you down a trail. This will be a little different now that I'm walking instead of on the golf cart. This trail, we call this Fire Bridge Road coming up. It's actually more like a fire bridge. When the first house burned down, we took a lot of the rubble, a lot of it, and John next door's got his tractor, and we got load after load of brick and debris, mostly just a ton of brick, and crossed this ravine here. So it used to be that it went down quite a bit. On a four-wheeler, you'd even have trouble kind of going down and across. So we made it to where we could cross over to this part of the property easily and avoid the trouble of having to go through the ditch. So let's see here, man. Charlie dog, yeah. Yeah, we had a dog, Harley. We lost her in the fire. But before that, she ran off during a week before Easter or so, and we couldn't find her. We put signs up and down Aqueduct Road, and we'd get false calls. Hey, we found your dog, you know, and then they'd start to tell us what the dog looked like. So that ain't our dog. But a HPD officer works in the Vice Squad, black guy. He calls up on Sunday morning, Easter Sunday, says, I found your dog over here on Garrett Road. And when we got there, she was in a pipe yard, and it was Harley. Oh, we couldn't believe it. So finding her was, we had tears of happiness, man. Anyway, I wrote Charlie Dog, kind of with Harley in mind, and a couple other experiences. Okay, so we're about to look down the ravine, and again, the ravine was the property line between us and Ron and Don. Wherever it went, you know, their side was one side, ours was the other. It went right down the middle of the creek. This was hole number 2 on our frisbee golf, and I think it was hole number 8 I showed you earlier. So right here's probably in the video, it's hard to get a depth perception. If there was something down there, like if a car was down there, it would just be there, and you'd say, wow, that's a deep motherfucker there, because that's a car sitting down there. This thing's about, you know, 30 feet tall from where I'm standing to the bottom of the creek. I don't know how good you can see that water, but yeah, this thing rushes pretty good after a bunch of storms. Real good. It's making a lot of noise. After a tropical storm Allison, my dumb ass thought I could float down that thing, and I got on like a little inner tube type floaty up near the front of the property. And as I started going down the creek, I didn't realize that all the stuff that hung across the creek, which was normally high off the ground, was at about my face level. So I got briar and all kinds of shit hitting me in the face. I was never happier to get out of that thing. Everybody met me near the back of the property where I came kind of floating out. But this was all over the years. This has kind of changed, but normally you could see the house from here. That's when the frisbee golf was easier, because you just throw the frisbee right across the ravine. But it's all woods now. We could clear it, but not doing anything else to this place. And realistically, we're probably going to be settled with these guys in the next month or so, and then we're going to have a year, 18 months. We have a little bit of time to move off. So we'll see where we end up. Wherever that is, I can assure you will probably be your first encounter with Grandpa Javi and Grandma Pam. That will be in your mind what our house was. And if it's just an okay house or something where I don't want to go to Grandpa Javi's and Pam's. But if it was out here, you'd be wanting to come back all the time. Used to ride the 4-wheel back. This trail goes back, I'm not going to walk the whole thing. This thing goes back about 400 more yards. It was here when we bought the property. It was an old road, and we clear it from time to time. That stick that was hanging in the way from the tree limbs used to have banana spiders. They'd make their webs across this trail. One time I was on the four-wheeler hauling ass back here. It's got some twists and turns, and I came around one corner. That fucking banana spider, it stuck right on my face, like right about on my nose. And them things are big, and wasn't scary as much as it felt goofy. You know, cockroaches are pretty harmless, but if they get on you or they touch you, people freak out. It's like, oh my god, get that thing off. I'm not too worried about them, but that spider kind of freaked me out. After that, I would get me some kind of big stick that looked like deer antlers, so it had a lot of breadth and grabbiness to it, and I would drive with that thing in front of the golf cart all the way down the trail once, clear out all the spider webs, and then after that I knew I could drive down the trail the rest of that day without a problem. Paintball, we used to play a lot of paintball out here, and we actually call this the Ho Chi Minh Trail during paintball times. And Ron and his son and his son's friends would take it on the adults. We played games at night with glow sticks on full moon nights. And yeah, the paintball craze was pretty big several years ago, and it still is. It's just played a little different now, but no, playing out here in the woods was awesome. Yeah, nice day today. So I'm spinning some of my tunes, which you've heard by now, I'm sure. But the main point again being, if you can play your music, whatever kind of music it is, and have the freedom to play it as loud as you want, man, oh man, you know you got something special. Okay, let's see. Too many things to talk about. We're going to go in the steel garage. I'll show you a 73 Oldsmobile Delta 88 convertible. It's kind of my pride and joy. I used to have one when I was 18, 19, and I don't know, 30 something years later, I seen an ad on one out of I think it was out of Illinois, and had it shipped down here, and when it got here it was way rustier than what I recall seeing in the picture. So it was definitely a rust bucket, and 2 years of my time. Had these sidewalks put in with the new garage. That really helped out. Just right where that little water sprinkler box is, used to just be a tree, and the sprinkler and the water hose hung on the tree. Your mom would wash her dog Amy right there, and it was all dirt and grass. And so I said, when we built this new building, it's like, here's what's gonna fucking happen. We're gonna have a hose reel there. It's gonna be all concrete, and Christina is not gonna get all into the mud and grass and everything, and then have Amy track it all back into the house and everywhere else. So that's where these sidewalks came from. Your mom. Okay, let's see. This is your Grandma Pam's Buick Verano. Can't really see this super good. This is a case of old stuff I've collected over the years. Too many articles in there to talk about. A bunch of crap up here right now, but just a lot of cool little shit, and you go over and over. It's an old Oilers ticket there. Steelers and the Oilers in the Astrodome, man. I tell you what, that was a rivalry there. Anyway, little stuff I picked up, a lot of it from a swap meet called Pate. That's up in Fort Worth at the Texas Motor Speedway. Here's my Uncle Robert and the family in San Antonio made us a neon sign for our Twigstock party. And again, man, some rockin' parties, dude. Live bands, kegs of beer, barbecue all day. the last people going to sleep didn't go to sleep. They're still up when the sun comes up, so I would go to sleep myself and tell them, y'all camp out or do what you want. Hobbs hitting the sack. So this is a big poster with too many pictures to talk about. I had it made up precisely 30 feet, and I think it was like 2 inches or whatever to fit perfectly on this garage. It ain't gonna fit in the new garage, I can tell you that, but yeah, man, friends, family, and just decided to put whatever I could think of on there. And somewhere on here, let me see if I can find it. There's your mom's wedding pictures, and associated with that, your papa, and your aunt. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. I was looking for, here we go, your grandpa Linwood. So I kind of superimposed your mom and him on the Reliance Stadium where the Texans play. So it's our dog Harley, the one I was telling you about. She's the one that passed away in the fire. San Jacinto Monument, one of my favorite Texans things, and that's why it's right in the middle of this thing. Anyway, on and on and on I could go. Let's see if I can open this door. Okay, man. If this was in the sun, it'd be a little better. Likely I will not have this car when you're old enough to see it. I may have it for a little bit when you're a year or two, but once we settle and move somewhere, I'm not going to have the garage space to keep it. So that's a heartbreaking, dude. I'm going to make sure it goes to somebody I know and love and all that stuff. And it's definitely it was a project that took me away from music recording for a couple of years, and I haven't recorded any songs since then. But my buddy John Treffler, he made these quarter panels. These are long ass quarter panels. This car I think is about 22 feet long, I believe. It's a big old boat, man, and rides like you're sitting on a living room couch. So we'll see here. Unravel that whole thing. Let's see here. I should have actually had it out parked before I showed it to you, but yeah, Krager wheels with the BF Goodrich radials. That's old school. Old school. The young kids, they all got their I don't even know what they call their wheels, but I like the old Kragers. Anyway, that's that. Moving on. That palm tree used to be about, well, I guess all things start off small, but I got pictures where it was like, 2 feet tall. Never expected to get that big. These two back here will probably get to the size of that one. I just planted them later. That's our little well house. The guy that built our second house, Joe Ramirez, had a bunch of leftover material, and he said, you guys want the well? Hey man, here's one of them banana spiders. Check this out. Yeah, see, he built that out of the spare materials. Yeah, so you get that thing right stuck on your face, grabbing around your nose. When you're on a four-wheeler, it'll surprise you when you're wrecking to the damn wood. All these speakers crank up. There's a big old speaker inside this box over here. Some people think it looks like a fire pit, but it's just some big old Bose speakers in there. Let's see, man. I built all this deck after the fire. It's just over 4,000 square feet of deck with multi-levels and 65 LED lights. Didn't used to be LEDs. A buddy of mine, Vinny, he sold me a special deal. He said about $1,000 for these fucking lights, and that's not installed. That's you put them in yourself kind of thing. But I had some old incandescent ones in there, and the bulbs were always going out, so these LEDs were real nice. And all these rocks came from my buddy Frank Thornton's house. Frank is a story unto himself, and I could spend an hour talking about Frank. All I'll say is these rocks came from his place. There's a song about your grandma.
Well, I think she believes. Cooks my meals, cleans the house, washes
I made that state of Texas because I love Texas, man, and even love it to where I put another state of Texas inside that state of Texas. I'm taking this with me. You'll probably see this. I'm just gonna have to chisel it out of there, because I want to keep that. We use flint rock out of the ravine right here to represent the Gulf of Mexico. Try to make it look like rough seas. Other than that, bricks from the old house, the one that burned down. Flagstone was here the whole time. And anyway, so this is the deck. This is my ice chest, kind of a cool chest. I built it, kind of hard to see here with the sun, yeah. I built it dimension-wise to hold this big size ice chest, which is all nasty right now. I need to clean that thing out. But so basically I built a box around the ice chest. Roger Day, my cousin Roger out of San Antonio, he passed away. He used to do the barbecue for us on our Twigstocks. One badass dude, man. He gave me that little steel horny toad. So I always think of Roger when I see that thing. And let's see. I just finished spending 6 months out here replacing all the old deck with composite wood and replacing this pool. The original pool we had was as big as just inside these railings. So right here where the rail is was the edge of the pool, and right here where this rail is was the edge of the pool. So your grandma and I decided we were going to make it a little smaller this time, so we replaced it with a smaller pool. It's an above ground pool, 4 feet off the ground, but we're on a lot of slope here, and it ends up looking a bit like an in-ground pool. These are Japanese magnolias. These are slow growing trees, man. 2004, so 15 years, and that's how high they got. They grow about a foot a year, about the way I'm looking at it. We had this roof put on in 07. It didn't used to always go across there. This is where the bands play. We just had a karaoke party July 4th. I sang a few songs, as did a lot of other folks, and this is where the bands jam. And I got plugs. There's like 4 or 5 plugs around here, each on their own separate 20 amp breaker, so that nothing blows. And the view for the band is like that right there, so they're playing out to the folks that are out there partying. Didn't show you here on this bar. The bar is kind of cool because again, the pool's 4 feet off the ground, so we're able to sit at pool level, and can't really do that with a regular pool. So when you're sitting down here and you're watching the band right there, that's it's pretty cool, man. And a lot of people just stand here, but a lot of good times here at the bar when the parties are happening. Those I got return line feeds coming back into the pool. Those let me know I need to backwash my sand filter. It's like a little 3-way valve. Most of the water comes back into the pool through the recirc, through the little recirc fitting right there, and but about 20% is redirected to 1/2-inch PVC pipes, and that's what these two are. So when they start dribbling down a little less and not as much pressure, I know I need to backwash that filter. Anyway, okay, enough of the pool. Let's see. We're gonna go around behind the deck. Little tiki torches left over from that karaoke party. There's an old sand filter. I just need to kind of rebuild that thing, but now I ain't fucking doing nothing. With the district taking our property, it's like everything came to a halt. That's kind of cool. We just backwash straight into the ravine. The ravine's pretty deep down there. You're gonna see, because I'm gonna go walk down in it. I had to put this wire cage around the whole backside of the deck years ago because armadillos, cats, raccoons, all kinds of shit gets back in there. And it's like, and then if they die, you got to go find them and get them out of there. They'll stink for 2 months. That's an old deck that was built from the You know, I'm looking at this camera and I can't tell if it's coming out crappy or what on the video, but it's all grown over now. But this is all the mud district's easement, so I can't build anything there. But they don't own it. We own the property, but we just can't build on it. They just reserve the right to use it for drainage. So now we're on the back side of the garage and house. So the little bench seat railing there. Used to have a dartboard right above that table, and people would sit on that bench and wait their turn and throw darts. Okay. My dad, your mama's grandpa, which would make him your great-grandpa, he was an amazing man to me. I mean, obviously he was my dad. He got his PhD in biology, taught human anatomy. I grew up in Colorado and Utah, and he was an outdoorsman to the max. One crazy Mexican, man. He put this rope in 1996, and I can't believe, even though a couple of sticks are leaning, that it's still here after the hurricanes and everything else we've gone through. He put it in for your mom and her friends, because they were little kids, right? And so they'd come down here and adventure around. He wanted them to be able to get down to the creek real easy, so he built this for them to have access and not fall down. And I've occasionally used it myself to not fall down. The steps he put in are still kind of there, but mostly dilapidated now. Let's see here, man. That pipe over there, it's about 4 foot diameter. That's what that grate across the street fed. I was showing you that grate and telling you how the water drains in from the property over there. Well, that feeds into that dude. Also from the back side of the canal, the West Canal, which is Aqueduct Road, the canal and Aqueduct, feeds into it as well. That's where most of the water comes from, not from the grate. But the grate does top into the top of this pipe and come down here. So always liked it here. If it's real bad mosquitoes, you don't like it here, but right now it seems to be tolerable. Cool rocks. I've tried to take some of these rocks. I could probably take as many of these damn rocks as I could get. They're just Black River rocks, and real cool, man. I'm sure they're worth a little bit of money. I probably should give some thought to getting more of them, but anyway, walk down here a little. You used to be able to see the back of the house up there. Hopefully this is starting to give you a little bit more idea of the depth of this creek. This old cedar, well, you know what? I was gonna say it died. It looks like it's still got some sprouts on it here and there, but it's cedars and magnolias, man. They have to have water, and we used to have more of them up and down the creek. But when the subdivision called Summerwood went in the late 90s, they rediverted a lot of their drainage to Sheldon Reservoir area, and in doing so, it took water away from our creek, and so the trees started suffering. But for 1,800 yards, sorry, 1,800 feet, 600 yards, this creek goes and just keeps winding and twisting and turning, and it's just really beautiful with all the ferns and the nice hardwood trees. This is a magnolia right here. You can see the big magnolia leaves there. Anyway, okay, brother, that's the magnolia tree roots. That's the creek. That's the ravine. And this is what they want. They want this, and they're going to expand it and make it big. So when you finally grow up a little older, maybe watching this video, you can drive over here and check it out, and you will see that it's nothing like this anymore. Okay, my video, Pam's iPhone says her battery's getting low. I'm using hers because mine's fucked up. Something's wrong with the damn video camera. I gotta get that fixed or just replace the damn thing. We're gonna go in the house and say hi to your Grandma Pam if she's not in the shower. And that may conclude our video. But at least I got some, at least I got something for you. "5 a.m. Let's see. You see the dogs too. This is the bar. That's my Coke machine. Refurbished that. That was fun. This is a Jack Daniels barrel Frank gave Pam for her birthday. Here's your dad and Grandma Pam's brother Robert at this same bar, showing the crown balls that they finished. And they're smiling there, but they weren't smiling the next day. I hear dogs coming. Little Abby. What's up, Abby? What you do, Abby? Yeah. Oh, what you good girl? It's a living room. So kind of an open concept. Tall ceilings. We got 10-foot ceilings in all the rooms. This is a pool room. This is Mr. Puppy over here. The awesome dog. He thinks so. Yep, that's right, Puppy. Touch me. Usually he barks or growls when we talk to him. This board is, I made that from all of my album covers that didn't get burned up in the house fire. That's a 4x8 sheet of plywood and just a bunch of different stuff. I should still have that, so you'll probably have seen this one before. And so we've just got a variety of pictures. This is just kind of like the game room. Let's see here. State of Texas. I built that and then hand drew every city right off a map. And just slowly drew it based on the map to try to make a replica. The only thing that's not true is over in the El Paso, West Texas area where I used, there's my brother Ruben, my mom, my dad, Pam, me. You can make up your own cities when you're making your own map. A New York picture. I bet your Grandma Pam's in the shower, so I am not going to walk back there. She'll get upset with me. This is the office, and got my guitars hanging there. Golf club, an old accordion, a little tribute to the Twin Towers, and one of my favorite sports guys growing up, Mr. Ali. That's Rick Lee. He played at one of our Twigstocks. He's a guy that plays the blues. And that's pretty much the office. Lots of different pictures. There's some historical pictures of our house that you'll probably see. Okay, well, before this battery dies, I'm going to get back outside, turn off the radio, and we'll call it a cut. Whether I like it or not, it's a cut. So it's fixing to get loud. Give me a second.
Satisfaction keeps you coming back for more. But the more that you come back, the less satisfied you are. If I confess to all my sins, I'd be a fool for sure. 'Cause my no satisfaction, 'cause I ain't your fool no more.
Okay, man, that's it. Hopefully you enjoy just a little piece of history there. wishing you all the best in life, and try to enjoy it as much as you can. It goes fast, and you never know when it's going to end. So, from 12700 Aqueduct Road to my grandson JC, rock on, brothers. Later.